The Diamond Dogs are over halfway through their season. What grades are they getting?
You are Locked On Mississippi State, your daily podcast on the Mississippi State Bulldogs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, I'm Landon McBride. Welcome to Locked On Mississippi State, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network. And today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $250 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. Head over to FanDuel.com to get started. So yeah, today we're going to go through both the batters and give them some grades, go through the pitchers, give them some grades. I'm not going to hit every player. I don't have time to do that. But we'll hit a lot of the big names, a couple surprisers, something like that. And at the end, we'll talk a little NFL draft. Dane Brugler's The Beast came out on Wednesday. We'll talk where a couple of Mississippi State players ranked in that. So starting with the batters. Like I mentioned a lot early in the season, this offense seemed to be on the borderline historic pace. It kind of has cooled off, especially when they face better pitching. We saw it with Arkansas, saw it some with Georgia as well in a couple of the games where the offense just kind of really struggled to find a rhythm and get huge. And the thing that it's surprising because of how many runs they put up. The home run total is low as a team. And that comes from the team leader being Ace Reese at 10. And we'll start with him with the grade. Like I said, he has 10 home runs. He's batting .317, 12 doubles, 42 RBIs. So that's a solid season, but with what he did last year, kind of what we expect from him, having a little bit more protection in the lineup this year, I'm not going to say it's a letdown. It's just, it hasn't been quite as good. And that might be on me. I might have been putting a little bit too much expectation on him. But if I was to give him a grade, I'm giving him an A-. But part of that is because of in the field. So we've talked a ton about errors on this show. And if you remove pass balls from the equation, so we're talking the guys in the field, this team has 24 errors, or has 22 errors once you remove the pass balls. 13 of those come from two guys. 5 are from Ace Reese. And I mean, you're not going to take his batting lineup. You can't. That'd be foolish. I'm not suggesting that. But when you have a guy who is number 2 on your team in errors, that's going to hurt his grade, even if he is producing at this level. So like I said, I'm giving him an A- for the year. And then we're going to go to the guy who leads the team in errors, which depending on what you want out of your hitters, this guy could either be your 3rd, 4th, maybe 5th best hitter at worst. Ryder Woodson. I mean, he really came on strong, claimed that shortstop position. Like I said early in the year, he had a lot of errors, and it kind of made me wonder, is the bat worth it? I mean, when you look at his numbers, batting .308, 13 doubles, 25 RBIs, 4 home runs. I mean, yeah, it's worth it, but he has 8 errors. So that's hurting him a lot. It's hurting the team. It's hurt the team in different spots over the year. Same for him. I mean, I give him an A-, maybe an A, just because we did have the expectations for him to be this good this quickly. So that was kind of surprising me when I really dug into the errors, though, that the majority of the errors that we've talked about are coming from these two guys who are some of your best hitters on the team, which is never good when it's like that. I mean, it happens. It happens all the time. Some guys are more bat than glove. That's what it is. I will say, I've talked about multiple times Ace Reese's prospects at the next level. He's going to have to clean that up, or he's going to be moved off third base. And then that limits his upside, because you have to be an absolute masher to make it as a, essentially what teams would view as a college first baseman in a draft. So that would kind of hurt his thing. So hopefully he cleans that up, and this is just some fluke things. Moving on, we're going to start with we're going to go to the surprise. Jacob Parker. I mean, come on. 338 average, 7 home runs. He only has 68 ABs on the year. So he is your number 2 home run guy with almost 30 less at bats than Noah Sullivan, who has 6 home runs. Jacob Parker has been amazing. He's been a breath of fresh air. Watching that kid play, it's great. It's one of those things that reminds you what you love about baseball. He's just such a good player. And every time we talk about him, we see comments on Facebook or in here just about how good of a kid he is, how great the family is. And that just makes it even better when a guy like that comes in and just immediately tears the cover off the ball like this. I mean, he's getting an A+. They give him an A++. He also has 0 errors since I'm on that little soapbox right now. No errors. Number 2 in the team in home runs coming out of nowhere like this. I mean, he's exceeded all expectations. I don't really know what else you can ask for him. The only thing is, as good as this offense has been, the power threat just hasn't been there outside of him and Ace and a couple of games from Noah Sullivan and Reed Stallman. They've had some big games or big series, but it hasn't been consistent. Those are the two that have been consistent in the power threat. And that's kind of bringing down the offense in a weird way that I didn't expect. Speaking of that, Noah Sullivan, very good year. I mean, 354 average. I mentioned he's 6 home runs, 26 RBIs. It's kind of what you expect from him. Maybe the average a little bit higher than what you think. So, I mean, that's an A on him. Aiden Teal, we'll get to him. I had big hopes for this guy. I really thought he was going to come in and just do something almost special, to be like the most overused phrase in sports, be the Robin to Ace's Batman. But while he's been good, he hasn't lived up to the hype. And it was the hype of him when he was Virginia, the hype of him coming here, all this. He's been good. He just hasn't quite hit that level. And, maybe some of it's coming from his brother being such a good player so quickly, both in college and making it to the majors quicker than everyone expected him to. But, I mean, he's been good. 318 average, 4 home runs, 18 RBIs. He has been batting leadoff the majority of the year. He's been hurt a couple times, so it's not like he's in the lineup as much as some of these guys, but he has been so he's been solid, but almost a letdown because of the hype we had for him. And again, maybe that's on us for hyping him up. So I'd probably give him a B-. A couple other guys I'm going to hit on quickly, though. Bryce Chance. Anytime you're batting over 500, that's an A. The man has been incredibly solid out there. Also, no errors. So, I mean, he's a guy you can really count on to go out there, set the table. He's been hit by 6 pitches, which is always just a weird thing to he's actually, this is my favorite stat. He's only had 1 more strikeout than times he's been hit by a pitch. He's only struck out 7 times on the year. That's awesome for a guy at 100 at-bats. He's playing great. There's not a lot of counting stats just because of the type of player he is, but he is the type of player you want on your team. Cleaning the outfield, sets the table, gets on base. Absolutely great to have a guy like that on the team. Getting an A from me for that. Now to the offense as a whole, and I touched on this a little bit with the how it feels there's almost a lack of power, which is strange when you look at these the run totals that this team puts up. It's just huge, just gaudy numbers most weekends until they run in the good pitching staff, like I mentioned with Arkansas, and a couple of the guys with Georgia kind of held them down. But it's just strange. It's the doubles. They hit so many doubles. 80 doubles to this point in the season is crazy, especially when you compare that their opponents have only hit 39. So they have more than twice as many doubles as their opponents. Home runs 54-30 in that regard, the inverse opponents. But it seems like they hit a decent amount of home runs, but then you start comparing it, and getting ahead of myself, started already preparing to look at the Tennessee game this weekend. I'll talk more about this tomorrow. But I looked at their lineup. I was like, man, they don't have a lot of power. They only have 1 less home run than Mississippi State does. And when I saw that, I was like, okay, so I guess Mississippi State doesn't have a lot of power in that regard. But they just don't have that out of the park. They hit enough home runs. They do it different ways with a lot of singles, a lot of doubles, taking out your base with good base running. So you can't just knock them because they're not just knocking the ball out of the park over and over and over. Not every team is built like that. Not every player is like that. And that's fine. I do wish they had a little bit more of that game-changing out of the park power. But it has been a very, very good offense. So if I had to rank the offense as a whole, I mean, they were on a borderline historical tear for the majority of this season. Anything less than an A would be disingenuous for me to say that. It would be me playing kind of like recent results over what this team has actually been. So yeah, I mean, this offense is an A. And again, there's things they can do better. And some of it comes from just not making the wrong play, either in the field or batting. Because every now and then you just see an at bat that one swing could have changed the game, turned the corner. A couple of these close losses could have been wins with just a few small, a couple things going differently. But I mean, that's baseball for you. One little tiny play changes everything. So, like I mentioned, A overall. Most of the batters I'm giving an A. I think there's a couple that if I went through deeper, probably give them a B, B minus, something like that, just because we expect a little bit more when they haven't claimed a spot in the everyday lineup. But there have definitely been huge bright spots. One of them, obviously, being Jacob Parker, who has been absolutely amazing. So coming up after the break, we're going to do the same thing, going through the pitching staff.
I'm Clea Butler, host of Locked On Women's Basketball, and this is Mazda's Women's Basketball Snapshot, celebrating the work no highlight reel can ever capture. UCLA made history by winning its first NCAA Women's Basketball National Championship, dominating South Carolina 79-51. The Bruins controlled the game from start to finish with elite defense and balanced scoring, finishing the season 37-1. Star center Lauren Betts was named Most Outstanding Player, leading a team effort that capped a 31-game winning streak. Under head coach Corey Close, UCLA secured a landmark title that has been decades in the making. These moments are earned off the clock, those long before the lights ever come on. The sweat, the fakes, the doubt, the scrapes. I'm coming back for more every time. Mazda puts that same drive into every detail. Wins define the moment. Putting in the work, that defines you. There's more to a Mazda because there's more to you.
Get Locked On Mississippi State ad-free with the Everydayer Club, plus a members-only Discord access. Me and Jaren are hanging out in there. Come join us, and you'll find the URL to join us in the show notes. All right, so now over to the pitching staff, and there's only one place to start with this pitching staff, and that's with Tomas Valincius. He's been an ace's ace this year. I've talked about it before. Every staff has a number one. Not every staff has an ace. This staff has possibly the best pitcher in baseball. I mean, he's at least been pitching like it. I mean, if you could ask a scout, maybe his stuff isn't as good as someone else, whatever. This season, what he's put on tape has been as good as anyone else. A 1.15 ERA. He's 6-1 in 8 games. When you have a 1.15 ERA and you have a loss, that means your team kind of let you down in the offense department in one of your starts. And he has 66 strikeouts over 47 innings. So he's giving you a lot of innings in those 8 starts that he has made, striking out a lot of people. Opponent's batting average, 170. No one's doing much damage against him. He is an absolute stud on the mound, a guy you can count on every weekend. And as long as the offense gives you 3 runs, you feel like you can win a game that he is starting. So there, like I said, with Jacob Parker, everything he's done, he's exceeded expectations, A++. That's the same thing with Valincius. It's an A++. I thought he was going to be the ace coming in. I liked his peripheral numbers with his high strikeouts and all that. But this exceeded even what I expected. So, I mean, absolutely amazing. McPherson, he's hard to grade because we have this injury now. And we saw a little update. O'Connor said he doesn't really have an update, but he expects a couple more weeks before McPherson is back. Before the injury, he was pitching very well, 2.45 ERA, 40 strikeouts in 33 innings. He was 3-0. Got to give him an A, maybe an A. I mean, that's an A. That's an A grade. But because of this injury, we don't know when he's coming back. We don't know what he's going to be like when he comes back. It's almost an incomplete, but that doesn't feel right with how good he was prior to that injury. So we're kind of in wait and see mode on that. He was very good. I can't wait for him to get back out there and pitch. I loved watching him pitch. So I hope it's sooner rather than later that we get him on the mound again. And we'll jump to the guy who's claimed that third starter role, Duke Stone. He had an up and down season. He's had a couple weird starts. Things kind of get away from him when he was in the bullpen. He had one that kind of got away from him. He had the one start where he walked 7 guys, which when you have 15 walks over 36 innings, and 7 of those come from one start. That is just a weird outlier of a day. He's been up and down, but he's really kind of solidified that third spot. You're always going to want that third guy to go a little bit deeper than they do. But if you're getting 4 to 5 innings from him and he's giving you what he's been giving you, I mean, it's a B plus, somewhere in that range is what I'd give him. Obviously, we're not going to go through every reliever on here, but the big one that we have to touch on, Dane Burns. The man has been automatic. I know he's been in 15 games and he's only pitched 8.2 innings in those 15 games. But he's only given up 7 hits. It has 12 strikeouts in those 8.2 innings. ERA of 0. When he has come in, he is shutting them down. He is doing great work coming in out of the bullpen, and he's been awesome. Tyler Pitzer, another guy we thought we'd rely on a lot, had a solid year. He's had that one start where he's like the opener, but it was just like 2 or 3 innings. So he gets credit for starting a game, but it was essentially he just started as a reliever. Slightly over 2 RA. He's been another guy you can really rely on. When we talked about that analytics, 64 analytics, can't remember which way it goes. They had him on one of their all-week teams. So he's been great. He's getting noticed for being great as well. Some of the, I guess, more bad would be Ben Davis, which is strange because most of his bad outings have been in situations that aren't high leverage. Like they're getting him in to get him work. It's a big lead. They bring him in. He gives up 3 or 4 runs and it doesn't affect the outcome of the game, but his stats look bad. I mean, he's a 4.50 ERA and he's a guy we thought could be an absolute, just like the best reliever in college baseball or in that conversation. One of those really good guys you could count on game in and game out, but he's been kind of inconsistent. The stuff is still there, 27 strikeouts in 22 innings. He's still kind of got it. He makes the big pitch when he has to more times than not. The stats just really aren't there this year. And it's one of those things where it's just not all clicking for him. The Maddoxes, Webb and Miller, both have been very good. I didn't give Ben Davis a grade. I apologize. I'm giving him a C+ just because he's been fine, but not what we thought he would be, but he's been passable. And while he's still kind of that guy they rely on the back of the bullpen, Pitzer and a couple of these other guys have kind of started stepping into that late inning role, kind of taking over part of that. I'm going to jump over to Jack Bauer because I'm going to talk about him. He's getting a C, but that's on me. I thought he was going to come in and set the world on fire. Took him a couple bad outings, but lately he has been tearing it up. So arrow was pointing straight up for this kid. The longer this season goes on, the more faith I would have in putting him in a pressure situation to be someone you can rely on. Another one that a couple guys I really want to talk about, Chris Billingsley and Brendan Sweeney, both of those guys, I said very early on after a couple bad outings, I would not trust them in pressure situations, but 3 months, you could turn around. I could be wrong about this. We didn't even make it 3 months and I've been wrong. Both these guys have been on hot streaks, especially Billingsley. That guy has been someone you can put into those pressure situations and he comes out keeps the lead, keeps the game tied, whatever you need him to do. He's been awesome. So given the rough start, giving him a B on the year. Brendan Sweeney, I'm going to give him a B as well. He's had a couple rough outings, but overall he's become someone you can really rely on over the course of the season. And I would love to sit here through every one of these players, but team as a whole, they're kind of where we expected them to be. Maybe some of the wins and losses just haven't looked exactly like we want them, like the sweep against Georgia. We don't want that. Losing to what happened with Arkansas, we don't want that. You'd like it to be balanced out more than like sweep versus sweep. You want kind of a 2-1, 2-1, 2-1 kind of thing. So because of that, and maybe it's a little recently biased, this team still has all the talent and is in position to make a deep run. So as a whole, I'm giving the team so far to this year an A-, which, I mean, that's all you can hope for. Had to overhaul a lot last year. Not great. Mostly new coaching staff besides Justin Parker sticking around, which that man deserves all the credit for the work he's done with his pitching staff. It's been amazing. Brian O'Connor seems to be almost always pushing the right buttons and seems to get this team moving in the right direction. So giving the team an A-, hopefully, end of the year, giving them an A+ for holding another trophy. But coming up after the break, talk a little NFL draft and where some of Mississippi State players rank in the Beast. The NBA playoffs are here, where every possession matters, every matchup is magnified, and every game can swing a series. And right now, FanDuel is giving new customers a great way to get in on the action. Here's what I like about it. You can bet just $5 and you get $250 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. That's a great way to start something like this, get a little momentum, get a little extra cash to keep making some of those bets. And that makes it so easy to follow the action with player stats, trends, and all the matchups are in one place. During the playoffs, that extra insight really matters when you're looking at stars, the role players, key moments, all of that. It just makes the entire playoff experience more engaging, start to finish. So head to FanDuel.com to get started. FanDuel, play your game. All right, welcome back to Locked On Mississippi State. And like I mentioned, we're going to talk a little NFL draft here. We're not going to go too deep, but Dane Brugler from The Athletic released, he calls the Beast. It is the best draft guide. If you have The Athletic, go find it. If you don't have The Athletic, it might be worth getting this if you're in the NFL draft. Just for reference, more than 2,700 prospects are ranked in here. I think the total full scouting report is somewhere around 450 players. So about 100 more than get drafted. You have a full scouting report on, along with rankings on like another 2,000 players. So definitely worth the read. One of my favorite days of the year is when this comes out. So first guy we're talking about, highest one he has, Brennan Thompson. He has a 3rd round grade on him. He's 15th ranked wide receiver. That's really no surprise. We've talked about that a few times. Depending on who you look at, he's somewhere kind of in that 70 to 90 range, which is your 3rd round grade when you look at mock drafts. So main takeaway was he's undersized and not built for traffic, but offers the score from anywhere type of speed to be a dynamic contributor in the quick game or downfield. If he stays healthy, he has upside as a number 3 for an NFL offense looking for his specific skill set. And yeah, that's really that's what we all know. We all watched Brennan Thompson this last year. He's not the player that's going to go across the middle. I mean, he will occasionally, but he's not like your big physical receiver. He's a fast guy who's going to really kind of take the top off the defense and score from anywhere. The next highest rated guy and the only other guy that with a draftable grade is Seydou Traore, which he has as a 7th round or free agent. So there's a chance he gets drafted, but most likely will probably sign as a undrafted free agent. I will say, not trying to be a homer here, but I would 100% take a shot on this guy just with his size and what he brings. And like the takeaway is Traore is still young in football years, didn't play 11-man football until 2020. He offers intriguing athleticism and pass catching talent for a developmental F tight end, which F tight end, that's kind of become the term for what amounts to kind of a big slot, more of or as Nate Tice calls them, the power slot, the big guy who can kind of block from the slot position, where he just has a couple other guys ranks before we get out of here. If you were all curious, Ethan Myers, number 36th ranked long snapper. That's how deep this draft guide goes. Other players of note, he has Booth, 42 ranked running back, has him as a free agent. Albert Reese, 43rd offensive tackle. The one that we will get into when Jaron is here, Jerron Manning, safety ranked 103. So that's why we're not going too deep onto this. I just wanted to touch on where he had Brennan Thompson and Seydou Traore, but there's a couple guys in here that me and Jaron really want to talk about a lot together. So we're going to do that in the coming weeks before the draft. We'll dive more into this. But thanks for tuning in to today's episode of Locked On Mississippi State. Tomorrow, I'm going to preview the Tennessee series, kind of what we want to see from them, hopefully get a big bounce back weekend. So make sure you subscribe and follow us so you can get all the latest episodes. And you can find us everywhere on social media, Facebook, Twitter, or X, Instagram, Facebook, everywhere. And if you never miss an episode, the Everydayer Club is built for you. Get Locked On Mississippi State ad-free, plus members-only Discord access and more. Head to the custom link in the show notes to join us. And for those of you on video, we send you to the first ever 24/7 National Locked On Podcast Network YouTube channel. On audio, make your second listen Locked On College Basketball. Until next time, Hail State.